Hi everyone, my name is Kevin, and this is my wife Katie. Um, we just wanted to get on here and kind of give a little short, brief introduction to, why we created this page. It's been up quite a while now. We had a few little videos posted, but we just kind of weren't really um, into the whole posting thing. Kind of new to the, I guess, doing videos and stuff like that. So. Kind of just wanted to get on and talk about some of the things that we do day in and day out because we kind of live different than other people. You would say we camper it, so it's not exactly easy all the time. We have 4 little kids, and we kind of up and turned everything on a dime. We lived together growing up. We actually lived really close without knowing, that we were, and both went to the same schools. Never really left very far from there. I mean, I traveled a little bit, um, but you know, got married, had kids. We bought our first house together, which was, you know, I mean, for being what it was, a remodel, it was a good starter home.
Just wasn't everything we wanted.
No, not at all. It was, very. The house itself was nice for what it was. Again, remodel. We learned a lot about those just with the experiences we ran into.
Can't really make, no matter what you do, you can't make something that is already something everything that you want.
No.
We ran into the situation when we went to buy our first house, kind of like the situation when we went to sell our first house, that the market was crazy. Like, everything that we looked at was like going off the market so quick, and so that's the reason that we decided to do a remodel and a renovation with the house that we did, because it was in our price point. It was in the school district that we wanted when we thought that we wanted to send our kids to school. It's where we thought we wanted to, settle down with our family. Fast forward, we decided to take a leap of faith in 2022 and sell our house. We had started looking for land because we knew that land was something that we wanted. And
it was like a year and a half or so of searching.
A year and a half, but there was just so many things with owning a house. We would have to, if we found something, we would not only have to bid on it, but we would also have to put our house on the market and sell it within 30 days, and that just was not feasible with having 4 small children. Fast forward, we got chickens and other animals. We got chickens and rabbits while we were still in our neighborhood house, and we just knew that we wanted more. We wanted large garden. At this point, before we sold, we had decided to homeschool. We had pulled our children from public school and decided to homeschool. So it didn't really matter, that we were going to sell, and eventually wherever we move.
No, it wasn't like they were going to be, put into a different school system that
Right.
we had no information about or anything. With them going to the homeschooling thing, obviously, I mean, it took a toll on you being able to work and put an income, source into the equation. Me being the only one bringing any kind of money in, but on the other hand, you look at all the goods it did; they far outweighed, the bads. You got obviously more time the kids get to spend with their mother, and she vice versa gets to spend with them, which you can't. You can replace money. You can replace. Take for instance, your house, like right now in California, gets burned down. You can replace a house. You can't replace time with your children, with your loved ones, your family. That's something nobody can get back. I don't care if you're millionaire, billionaire, president of the United States. It's not coming back. So that was probably one of the biggest factors, aside from all the stuff that was going on in the school system that we just, we weren't, what's the word I'm looking for? We just didn't really want our kids being forced, that type of thing, if you know where I'm going with that. So,
not only just that, I mean, they don't teach core values anymore. Like,
no,
they've
not at all.
taken cursive out of school, they've taken God out of school, they've taken balancing a checkbook, simple things that when we were children that they used to teach these kids. Like, nobody knows how to budget. That's the word I'm looking for. No, but these kids, like, they're just, and everything's on screens. Like, we limit our screen time for our kids. If they do the chores that they're supposed to do and they do their schooling that they're supposed to do and they're respectful, then they get screen time, and if not, then they don't do it. We give our kids chores to teach them, core values and responsibility. Some people may think that that's wrong, but it teaches them responsibility, whereas a lot of these kids these days just don't have that. They have no respect for authority, elders, or anything else like that, and we try to teach our kids that.
Well, that's a whole bigger problem. That's more of a world issue. Or going back to, the homeschooling and pulling them out, and, it coming back to us searching for a new place to call home. The homeschooling was kind of like the first domino, I guess you would say. So we get them out, and, she homeschools them. Aside from the time that I was talking about, we lost her income, yeah, but she gets more time with them. We know exactly what they're learning. Again, with school systems, you see all the stuff going on all the time with, you send your kids to school and you expect them to be safe and come home the same way. Well, you just never know. The world's a very crazy, scary place. And that, quite frankly, is what happens. You take God out of school, that's kind of what you unfortunately get. But so there's been some twists and turns, but
getting back to our timeline, so we sold our house in 2022. We decided to take a leap of faith, and the day after we closed with our house, we decided to take our funds that we had gotten, some of them, and purchase a brand new camper. And we stayed in a family member's yard for almost a year while we were looking for land. And this didn't even include the year and a half that we started looking before we actually sold our house. So we looked and looked and looked for the perfect property. And we came across things and we almost settled. But at the end of the day,
a couple different times,
the end of the day, I really truly believe that there's a reason that we are where we are. We do not have a house in the progress yet.
No. There's an old farmhouse right here beside us. It's mainly a storage building, but
so
the building process.
The 10-11 months that we were in a family member's backyard before we found this land, we were looking for a house for a year and a half, and then we found this place from a friend, and we started to get the ball rolling. And where we moved, we have right at 40 acres. We have an old farmhouse, which we do school in. We use as a storage facility, and we also use the kitchen and bathroom.
Yep. So I mean, it's we do really with what we were able to work, obviously, with the banks and everything. The friend that mainly Katie knew and, was just gracious enough to even mention it to us before it was even a thought, a seed that was planted. It's, I believe, a blessing without a doubt. We were in a place where we just kind of got down, just from looking and driving and visiting these different places, finding even a couple that we really liked. One in, was it Victoria?
That's when we almost closed
Virginia.
on.
Yeah, we were
But
very
we almost
close.
settled. Like,
So, and yeah, there was...
it was 7 acres, and it had a house that was
It wouldn't have
turnkey
been-
move-in, but
yeah.
it wasn't...
wasn't the land
we
that
were
we needed.
we were rushing into doing it because we were in a camper for so long.
Oh yeah, there definitely comes a time where you're in a small space like this. You look at 10-acre property with a gorgeous house on it, you're ready to jump. But definitely
we wouldn't have been able to do
settling is never worth it.
Expand the way that we want to in the future. Currently, we have goats. We had pigs and rabbits and chickens and ducks.
Just in the freezer now. So.
The goal is self-sufficiency, people. And so we're looking to expand this year. I've always wanted cows, and so that cows and donkeys and emus hopefully are on the way in the spring. And I would love to have bees. I've always wanted bees, so I'm hoping those things will be.
It's all part of the process.
In the process for the
just
spring.
Like the house. But yeah, with the market the way it was, and we did sell at a good time. Katie mentioned, we were able to take those funds and, not only were we able to put the percentage down on the land we needed, get the shelter, what we call home now, and a fairly new truck that we really honestly needed as well to be able to, it did basically serve its purpose pulling it here, but now, I mean, it's our daily driver, so
it's my daily driver.
we were blessed in more than one way, for holding out, and there's days where you look back and you're like, oh, it'd be awesome to have a house right now. You see, these people that have a house and have this beautiful kitchen and get to cook, but with this wheel we've got going, these plans we have, and you keep looking down the tunnel at the end of what you want it to be. I think without a doubt, even those bad days come and go, we both know we made the right decision as far as where we are, and
you just have to keep your eye on the bigger picture. I think it's a lot harder for me, especially in the winter, just because our kids and even us, we spend so much time outside with our animals and playing. Like when we get up in the morning in the summer, spring, and fall, we get up and we go outside, and we are outside for the day. Like they're playing on their trampoline, their swing set, they're playing with the animals. We're so busy doing all of the things. The winter and like when it's rainy is very difficult. And coming from where I literally worked, where I was a teenager, I don't leave home much, and being in a confined space when it's raining and when it's really cold, winter is definitely difficult.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, you got,
But I mean, all the other seasons are not terrible. There are bad days,
But I mean, if you
just
can,
like anything.
Everybody's got their dreams and goals, and if you take the good and the bad in stride, and there's going to be good days and bad days, but it's really no different. Being here, it's like a much smaller scale. You can't really spread out, especially us with having the 4 kids. It's we don't have a gigantic camper by any means, and we did buy brand new, which if
it's
we
definitely something.
had to do it again, yeah.
I would definitely, if we were going to do it again, or even give advice to anybody, buy a camper that is cheaper and
make it what you
gut it, remodel it, and make it what you want. The biggest issue for us is we bought this thing literally brand new. Like, it was a repo, so it had never been used. All the plastics was everything was still on it.
And by the time we pulled it out here, which it's right at 55 miles from where we come from,
it
maybe has 150 miles on it in total.
Right.
So I mean, the overall life of the say tires, frame, and this and that. There's hardly anything on it, but just from living in it, the daily use, they're not made to live in every day. So you're gonna have things come up left and right that you've got to take care of, regardless of buying new or used. But
right. The
money you're gonna sink into it.
The biggest thing is they're made cheap. I mean, there is no insulation in these things whatsoever. No. The bathrooms and most everything in here is made out of particle board. So if we were to do it again, definitely
would be cheaper.
Would spend less money and make it what we wanted.
Exactly.
That is just a learning lesson. We thought no one plans to be in a camper for 2.5 years, but
definitely not. But I mean, it's part of the journey. So I think keeping your eye on that goal, that end goal. So once we got out here, being kind of really, I guess your family's probably the closest to us other than my sister. So now obviously we're quite a distance away from everybody we know as far as family, which we're not used to either. So that's another aspect that we kind of pondered, and actually another reason we pulled our offer off the table for another property we had.
Where was that?
Ferrum.
It was
like
beautiful.
80 acres though.
It was absolute. I think it was 75. It was
up there.
It was beautiful, but
it's one of those things. Like
when
I said,
you
when
are
you've
so
been waiting
used to being in a place, like both of us stayed where we were from, and until this point, and so we had put an offer in on the table, and it was right at 3.5 hours just one way, and that was just a little bit scary for me. At least where we're at now, like we have an hour to our family, and that's doable.
Well, and I mean, I've gotten really lucky and blessed again as far as career path out here, because originally when we had first got out here, I was still commuting back to Richmond, Goochland area, which was every bit of hour and a half one way. So gas was just eating us alive. She's out here by herself from the time I get back from work with all the kids, homeschool and this and that, left and right. So long story short, I find 2 jobs before I end up where I'm at now, and they just didn't pan out. But like I said, I've been blessed to land a really, really good job, and it's real close to home. So that's something I think also kind of played into where we were looking a little bit. I wasn't too concerned with jobs. I was willing to move out, middle of the sticks, but it does play a little bit of a factor. I think if I'm not the type that wants to commute. If you want to buy a little Prius and have your farm truck for when you're here, but use your Prius to get 2 hours away every day, be my guest. I drive enough at work. I can't do it.
You use your Prius to get your 5 minutes up the street.
I do, but mine's not a Prius. So.
Farm truck is Katie's.
Yeah.
His feelings got hurt. He bought that for himself.
Yeah, it'll be okay. But you get married, everything's your wife's, so. But
is there anything else you can really think of that we should?
I don't know, that really it's just, kind of covering our introduction process, because we never really did a video when we first started this page. We kind of posted a few shorts, I think, and that was it. And
there was just never really the time to sit down.
No,
when
and
the
we're
kids
not.
were quiet and
we're not on the internet,
No.
Like, I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm not trying to be famous. I could care less if all of y'all watch this video and have nothing but negative things to say. I don't really care. I'll,
go on with your life.
That's right. My life is not going to stop. I just thought, we have people before us that have done this and have kind of already reached, I wouldn't say their end goal, but they've already gotten their house and are well past the camper life. We're kind of, I would like to say, near the end. I mean, who knows with the way the world is, these rates are ridiculous. Anybody that can afford to build a house right now, props to you. And I think, unfortunately, I think that's on purpose. They don't want you being out here self-sufficient, doing things on your own, having your own animals. And, it's not just that, along with going back to the homeschooling thing, not to get off track, but the self-sufficient thing with all these animals, aside from Luna, we'll never do anything with our first goat, but
even though he fussed at me for buying her a name tag.
I did. She's the one in the video with a name tag. You can go watch it right now.
She's my milk
My
goat.
wife has an obsession with the first animal of any type we get, so it'll stay alive forever. I'll take that back. The pigs didn't make it too well.
Those were our first.
The ones before that didn't fare too well either. R.I.P. Polly.
That wasn't our fault.
Yeah, I know. But no, our
Squirrel.
our kids are, I guess, being brought up definitely more of an old school way. They love their animals, but they know that they're here to serve us. Like she mentioned before, we had pigs. We just processed our first 2 pigs about a month ago now. I guess it's been.
It was right around Thanksgiving.
It was a very, very first cold night and morning we had. But they understand, and we want them to understand. We want them to be appreciative, but also understand that, hey, this thing that I'm getting from the store or wherever it may be, it comes from somewhere. You have to really appreciate that it's not just given to you. There's people all across the world that are starving. You have to really sit back and think, as far as how blessed am I compared to other people that maybe can't eat every day, especially even other little children.
There's so many lessons that go into raising and processing your own food. Not only is it a lesson of responsibility, it's a lesson of where does your food come from?
What does it eat?
What does it eat?
Knowing what goes into it, especially nowadays, is.
And then you have anatomy lessons that you can take out of it. And how do you make this food? How do you cook this food? How do you prepare this food? How do you package this food? Everything that goes into a self-sufficient life, or providing for yourself, or God forbid, things the world comes even more crazy and people can't get food and so on and so forth. Our kids will know how to prepare themselves and how to feed themselves and things like that. Just, it's mindset. When we first started this, him nor I, he was better off about it than I was. I wasn't super excited about, whether it's if an animal's suffering, or if we were getting that animal and its sole purpose was to feed our family. We were going to take care of that animal. We were going to raise that animal, and we knew that animal was going to be our food. And
it says it right there
it's an adjustment.
In the good book.
Both him nor I grew up where
All
our
the
parents had animals.
And the fish of the sea.
We just decided that was what we wanted to do, and with the way that the world was and all the foods that are being recalled and viruses and different things like that, we just mindset it was, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna teach our kids, and from a young age they're gonna know this is why we're doing this. Were they excited about it up front? No. Our youngest girl is very attached to her animals. And it's an adjustment for everybody. But when that is the purpose of what you got the animal for, was self-sufficiency, you go into it knowing that that's what you're going to do. There's no surprises.
No. Yeah, any kid's going to be attached to animals. That's just natural. And
Everything
love in
has-
their heart, but
everything's a learning curve. I mean, when you decide that you're gonna do something, like this was the first year that our garden was super successful, and we planted everything from seed. That was a learning curve. This year I taught
still got a lot
myself,
to learn on that.
right.
Not
This
a
year I
good
taught
gardener.
myself to bake sourdough and to can vegetables and make different things from scratch. How to
Well, I mean, and you see people every day, or maybe not necessarily in person, maybe online, something, this and that. Hear people talk about it. It's not a secret that the world's crazy, but you kind of can see it and feel it. People are starting to really want to get out of the city and go into the country
Buy
and be
land.
more self-sufficient, buy land, get animals. I mean, it's it's honestly, I feel like it's a movement and people kind of waking up. But I would say don't be scared. Is the number one thing. If that's something you want to do, it's especially us, because at the time we definitely, like I said, flipped everything upside down, up and did it. Had no
just
idea.
took a leap of faith.
And still doing it, because like I said, the house is not here yet, but it's something you just have to believe in and go through with it, and your life will be better for it, without a doubt.
I think that's probably it, but we will do other videos just kind of showing, what we have, what's
Oh yeah.
worked for us, what's not worked for us, different suggestions. If you guys have questions, just drop them in the comments and we'll try and answer those the best that we can.
If it's anything about camper life, or shoot, there's probably, well, definitely more people out there that could teach us things. We're not experts at raising animals, gardening, any of this stuff, but a lot of y'all probably aren't, and y'all just have an inkling to maybe start a new life and live this journey, which is all that we did. I mean, we just, like she said, we just took a leap of faith and knew the life we were living, where we were living, it wasn't what we wanted to do. So moved to a completely different part of the world and started over.
I mean, changes are scary. When we first started this, there was a lot of questioning if it was the right thing that we had to do or that we were gonna do. When we decided to sell our house, both of us had jobs, and I had a babysitting gig, and we were set up. But it was just one of those things, when you make your mind up, you just have to jump head first and just do it.
Don't be scared.
Don't look back. I mean, I definitely don't regret anything that we have done in the whole journey. We've learned so much. We've grown so much as a family, as a couple. We've grown individually.
Get you away from the way the world's headed, which is everybody doing this right here. Wanting to be connected and famous and on the internet and this and that. We don't want that at all. We're just had some curious minds, like I said, friends that have gone before us and friends that are behind us in the stages, friends that are on the same page as we are, heck, even random strangers that are probably gonna watch this. Again, it's all about just sharing the journey. Any tips we can give, any tips you guys can give.
Right. We can definitely learn. For sure.
There's tons of growth to
yeah.
be had. I mean, the animal is kind of my deal, and the gardening is kind of hers. We just put it all together and teach our kids and live life out of a camper. So,
I just bring them home, and he builds fences and houses.
Yeah, fellas don't get animals, because she's gonna want more and more.
It's a gateway.
And more.
Was it? No, it was definitely the chickens. It wasn't the sourdough or anything else.
It was
the chickens.
And it was
and then
10
the
chickens.
rabbits.
And it was 60 chickens.
Well,
And it was ducks and turkeys and guineas.
just quickly before we leave here, I went to the store and decided that I was going to purchase 2 chickens, just so ever so random. And I called my husband at work and I said, I just bought 2 chickens and I'm gonna need you to make a
on
place
less
for
than
them.
an acre.
I'm gonna need you to make a place for them
We
when
live
you
on
get
less than
home
an
this
acre At
afternoon.
this time, less than an acre.
And Mr. Handy over
And it was a
here,
corner lot in a neighborhood. That's how it all started.
I wanted chickens and eggs.
My garden area was gone and turned into a chicken
We still had
habitat.
a garden.
Well, we threw the chickens up on the lower part of it.
Yes.
But
Anyways,
hey, I built a heck of a pallet house out.
you
there.
did
That
build a
thing was
pallet house.
Sweet. Look up Pinterest. I will tell you, I will get on Pinterest now.
Pinterest.
Don't have no Facebook or nothing like that, but I'll get on some Pinterest.
Pinterest is definitely a big thing for both of us. Like, we're both crafty. Before we moved, his grandpa had kept all of the antlers that he had ever gotten from hunting. And so him and I decided to make a wagon wheel deer antler chandelier, and that thing is awesome.
It turned out pretty cool. It did indeed.
We're both very crafty and we both love Pinterest.
I would show you a picture, but I don't think we couldn't really get it up in the camper, so I don't really have enough room. But that's it, guys.
Thanks for
let us
watching.
know if you have any questions or anything like that. If you're interested in watching more, whatever.
Give us feedback.
We'll post occasional videos and fill you guys in on some more.